Staying at a Walt Disney World resort is the best way to fully immerse yourself in all the magic that Disney has to offer. From theming, to dining, to convenient transportation, to all 4 Disney parks, plus Disney Springs and the water parks. But are the perks of staying on property really worth it as opposed to staying at a cheaper resort that is off property? In this episode of the Destinations Planning Series, we will look at all the perks and benefits of staying on Disney property and weigh them against the cost of staying at these resorts in order to help you decide whether staying on property is right for you and your family on your next vacation to Walt Disney World. Are you planning your next vacation to Disney World, Universal Orlando Resort, or both? Are you planning to travel abroad to breathtaking destinations like Antigua, Bali, or Cancun? Or maybe your next destination is to the incredible European countries like France, England, Germany, Ireland, or others. No matter where in the world your next dream vacation is, Majestic Vacations has you covered. Offering travel services of the highest quality, their experience and commitment to customer satisfaction has earned them a solid reputation in the travel industry. They make the vacation planning process simple, easy, and fun. They will get you the absolute best deals, give you the best advice, and work hard to make your dream vacation a reality. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to their website or call this number on the screen to start planning a truly memorable vacation. Majestic Vacations. Don't just dream it, book it. The first major advantage with staying at a Walt Disney World resort happens during the planning process. Guests who are staying on property can book their lightning lanes starting at 7 a.m. on the day of their park reservation. Guests who are not staying on Disney property, on the other hand, have to wait until the park opens in order to reserve a lightning lane. So this means that by staying on property, you essentially have a 2-hour head start over everyone else. And this can be huge, especially during peak seasons. This perk also includes the lightning lanes, which have an additional cost, such as Rise of the Resistance. Trust me, while those 2 hours don't seem like they would make a huge difference, they can honestly be the difference between going and not going on some of the best rides that Disney World has to offer. If you want more information about Genie Plus and Lightning Lanes, check out our Genie Plus versus Express Pass video, which I've linked above. Another huge advantage you will have if you decide to stay on Disney property is with dining reservations. Now, all guests can put in a dining reservation 60 days in advance, but guests staying at a Walt Disney World resort can make dining reservations for their entire stay 60 days before their check-in date. Let me explain that. Say you are booking a 10-day vacation to Walt Disney World. If you are staying on Disney property, then 60 days before your check-in date, you can make dining reservations for your entire 10-day stay. However, if you are staying off property, then you can only make dining reservations for the day of your check-in 60 days in advance. You will then have to wait until the next day to get a dining reservation for day 2 of your vacation, and the day after that to make a dining reservation for the 3rd day of your vacation, and so on. So, if you make dining reservations for your entire stay, you would not be able to make your last reservation until 50 days before your check-in date. Whereas, if you stayed on property, you would have had every dining reservation completed 10 days sooner. This can be a huge advantage if you want a hard-to-get dining reservation like Space 220, Be Our Guest, Cinderella's Royal Table, Le Cellier, Chef Mickey's, and California Grill, whose reservations are usually completely booked up 60 days in advance. So, if you want to dine at any of these locations, staying on property is likely the only way that you will be able to do so. Early park entry. Disney used to have magic hours. How magic hours would work was that one park each day would allow guests who are staying on Disney World property to get into the park 1 hour earlier than everyone else, or stay 2 hours later than anyone who was not staying at a Walt Disney World resort. However, the parks which had magic hours would always become overcrowded, thus nullifying the intended benefit. Everyone staying on property would end up going to the park that had magic hours that day, and the intended advantage of getting onto the most popular rides faster never materialized. So to fix that issue, Disney put early park entry in place of magic hours. With early park entry, guests staying on property can enter any Disney park 30 minutes earlier than everyone else. This helped to spread the crowd levels out and to achieve the intended benefit of allowing Walt Disney World Resort guests to get on the most popular attractions faster. This extra half hour may not seem like much, but if you say go to EPCOT that day, you can go right into World Showcase, go right to the France Pavilion, and get right on Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. The early park entry is honestly one of the best benefits to staying on property, allowing guests to experience more rides and attractions as opposed to spending the entire park day waiting in line. We here at Destinations Disney and Universal suggest that you arrive at the park a half hour earlier than the early entry time. That way, you can get right in once they open the park and get right on the most popular attractions before the rest of the crowds come in. This way, you can maximize your day at the park. Transportation. Disney transportation is second to none in terms of convenience. On our last visit, we got off the plane, got transportation to the hotel, and went to all 4 Disney parks plus Disney Springs without ever renting a vehicle. If you rent a car or even drive your own car, you have to pay the fee for the rental car plus a parking fee for each night of your hotel stay. For value resorts, this charge is $15 per night. For moderate resorts, the cost is $20 per night, and for deluxe resorts and villas, the charge is $25 per night. And that's not including any of the parking charges if you drive to the parks. The parking fee for the theme parks is around $25 per day. We completely avoided all of these costs and managed to visit both Disney World and Universal Orlando Resort. How did we do it? We stayed on Disney property for the first part of the vacation and then changed hotels and stayed at a Universal hotel for the Universal part of our vacation. We simply had one day where we changed hotels and paid for an Uber to get from our Disney hotel to the Universal hotel, which ended up costing us around $20. That one-time $20 charge sure beat the cost of renting a car plus the cost of parking at the hotel and theme parks. If you want to save money, I highly recommend that you do it the way we did. Now, getting into Disney transportation. Every hotel has buses which arrive pretty regularly, and I think the longest we waited for a bus was around 20 minutes. And that included waiting in line to actually board a bus, which was only filling to half capacity due to social distancing for COVID-19. These buses ran all day to and from the parks and hotels. If you stay at a resort on the Skyliner route, those being the Caribbean Beach Resort, the Riviera, Pop Century, and Art of Animation, then you can board the Skyliner to go to and from Disney's Hollywood Studios and EPCOT. The Skyliner is my favorite transportation in all of Disney World. You get awesome views of Hourglass Lake and of the entire resort area. I highly recommend staying at a resort that is on the Skyliner route so you can experience the newest transportation which Disney has to offer. However, I do want to be honest and realistic. There is a reason why Disney has such convenient transportation. It's not because they care so much about their guests, although I'm sure that's part of it. It's mainly because it is financially beneficial for them to do so. Think about it. Disney wants guests at the park as early as possible so they can have more time to spend looking at and purchasing merchandise and food. When the park closes, they want you back at the hotel as quickly as possible so you can buy more food or buy alcohol and just spend your money on other things the hotels offer, like possibly a massage. A guest waiting in line to get to and from a park or hotel, or a guest sitting in traffic going to and from the park, is not to either resort's advantage financially. They want you to spend money, so investing in a transportation system that is efficient pays off for them in the long run. The other thing is that in Disney World, you are very isolated, and that is also done on purpose. Disney does not want you to leave Disney property, and they make sure that they have everything a guest would need within the land that they own. Shopping with Disney Springs, food at the hotels, merchandise at the parks, etc. Disney World is the size of Manhattan, so they have plenty of space to try to isolate guests as much as possible from the rest of Orlando. That said, the transportation is definitely a huge bonus for staying on property. Theming. Disney theming is unmatched, and they have everything in these hotels, from the classic Disney animation like the Art of Animation Resort, a trip through the decades with Pop Century, a tropical beach atmosphere at Caribbean Beach, a trip to the French Quarter at Port Orleans, and so much more. Now, I see many YouTubers out there saying how lazy Disney is with their theming at the various hotels, and complaining about how many of them do not have iconic Disney characters. But I feel they are missing the point. Maybe there are some people who do not want an abundance of Disney characters everywhere they go. Maybe they want to have the theming at the parks, but something different and unique when they go back to their hotel. Disney World has something for everybody. There are those who want the beachy feel when they're on vacation, so they have a resort based on the Caribbean. There are people who enjoy animals, and for those people, there is Animal Kingdom Lodge. I just think if you take the entire collection of Disney resorts as a whole, you will see just how diverse the entire resort is. There is theming for everyone's taste. That is the true magic of Disney. There is something for everyone to enjoy, and the hotels perfectly reflect that, complete with the top of the line theming that only Disney can achieve. Cons. As great as staying on Disney property is, staying at a Disney resort does have its downsides. By staying off property, you can eat meals which are less expensive, and some off-property hotels even offer free breakfast. You can also book bigger rooms for less money if you stay off property. If you have 4 or more people in your vacation party, you would probably benefit more from staying at a suite or villa outside of Disney World. For example, a Disney 2-bedroom villa sleeps 8 or 9 people, but only has 3 beds, 1 pull-out couch, and a sleeper chair, which allows for a 9th person. Some 2 bedrooms have 2 beds, 2 pull-out couches, and 1 sleeper chair. If you are traveling with someone who can't sleep on a pull-out couch, this could be problematic. In that case, it would be more beneficial to stay off property. Now, when it comes to the cost, I would say it kind of depends. To be honest, some value resorts at Disney are cheaper than lower quality resorts that are off property. Plus, you have to factor in the parking charges if you stay off property. Let me take you through an example. Say you have 2 people in your vacation party. The highest rated hotels I could find off property range from $110 to $125 per night. The cost of a Disney Value Resort ranges from $130 to $186 per night. Of course, all this depends on what time of year you decide to go. However, by staying off property, you must also factor in the cost of parking and potentially a rental car. So here's how it breaks down. Let's go in the middle and say you're staying off property with a room rate of $115 per night. You must also add an additional $25 for the parking fee at the park. So that brings your cost to $140. Now, let's add a rental car. For Enterprise, an economy vehicle would cost $239.16 per week, plus taxes and fees, which is an additional $134.17, for a grand total of $544.18, not including gasoline. Now, the biggest thing that people complain about when staying on property is the food cost. But there are ways to not pay those prices and never leave Disney property. There's DoorDash, Uber Eats, or what me and my wife did, which was Amazon Pantry. All of these services will deliver food to the Disney resorts for a fraction of what you would spend by buying food at the hotel. So, to answer the question of this video, is it worth staying on Walt Disney World property? I would say if you have a small party of up to 4 people, then yes, I feel it is absolutely worth it to stay on property. If you have a bigger family and all want to stay within the same room, then I would say that staying off property would be more beneficial. But again, you have to factor in the additional costs that come with staying off property, like rental cars, parking fees, etc. Honestly, for a bigger party, I would suggest just splitting the cost and booking multiple rooms at a Disney resort. I have personally stayed both on and off property, and in my opinion, the benefits of staying on property are too great to stay off property instead. And the cost of the value resorts aren't really ridiculous. Yes, they are smaller rooms, but let's just be honest. You're not at Disney World to stay in a hotel room. You're there to experience Walt Disney World. The hotel atmosphere, the parks, Disney Springs. I mean, you're really just using the room itself for a place to sleep and shower at. I try not to really give a strong opinion in these planning videos, but with this one, I just honestly feel that the benefits of staying on property outweigh staying off property by such a huge margin that it's not even worth considering an off-property hotel. So with that said, I hope that this video gave you some information and insight to help you plan your next vacation to Walt Disney World. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, as it would really help to grow the channel. Until next time, happy planning, everyone!